ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Freedom Fire Podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman, and ladies and gentlemen, you're at war. That's right. You're at war. America is at war. You just don't know it yet. But America is at war, and it is a multiple front war. We got this story from the Post-Millennial. Breaking: 3 U.S. soldiers killed, 25 more injured in a Jordan drone attack. Let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. On Sunday, 3 U.S. Army soldiers were killed in a drone attack on a U.S. outpost in Jordan near the Syrian border. At least 24 more soldiers were injured in the attack. According to CNN, U.S. Central Command confirmed an attack that impacted at a base in northeast Jordan, marking the first U.S. casualties since the start of the war in Gaza between Israel and Hamas. In a statement, President Joe Biden said last night 3 U.S. service members were killed and many were wounded during an unmanned aerial drone attack on our forces stationed in northeast Jordan near the Syria border. He continued, while we are still gathering the facts of this attack, we know it was carried out by radical Iran-backed militant groups operating in Syria and Iraq. Jill and I joined the families and friends of our fallen and Americans across the country in grieving the loss of these warriors in this despicable and wholly unjust attack. The president added, these service members embodied the very best of our nation, unwavering in their bravery, unflinching in their duty, unbending in their commitment to our country, risking their own safety for the safety of their fellow Americans and our allies and partners with whom we stand in the fight against terrorism. It is a fight we will not cease. Now, full stop. Here's the question I have. Why were they there? Why were they there? Now, I get it. We as Americans, we as our American military want to support our allies. We have a military alliance with Israel. I get it. We want to support them. But from what I've seen, they seem to have everything under control. Personally, I mean, of course, they are quite surrounded and everything on all sides, multiple different countries that don't like them. I get that. But the reality is that their military's doing all right. Like, they don't seem to be struggling all that much. So why are we there? I get it. You got the Houthi rebels down in Yemen who are attacking people in the Red Sea. You kind of want to keep maritime trade open. That's one thing. But why are we there? Why do we have soldiers this close to a war zone without any real mission, without any real goal? They're just sitting there waiting for something. I don't get it. We have soldiers just sitting around waiting for something, and now we've had multiple attacks on U.S. military bases and multiple injuries, and now we have deaths. Now we have U.S. soldiers dying. Why are they there? If they're not going to be involved, then take them out. If they are going to be involved, in my opinion, they shouldn't be. Taking them out should be the only option here. But if they are going to be involved and this dingus of a president is going to get them involved, then freaking do it. Don't just leave them in their bases to be hit by drones all day. Oh, and by the way, if you're going to have soldiers in a base in the middle of a war zone, you might want to be able to put some equipment out there that can protect them from things like that. Maybe some anti-air, things like this. We might want to take a little bit of responsibility when it comes to protecting our soldiers, Mr. Biden. No, I will not give you the respect of calling you president because I don't think you are. I just don't. Anyone who is this terrible at being president, in my opinion, isn't the president. You should just be removed from office. And I'm no longer going to give you the respect of calling you that title. Since the October 7th terror attack on Israel by Hamas escalating into the war in Gaza, U.S. and coalition forces have been attacked in Iraq and Syria more than 158 times, none of which has caused any serious injury or damage until now. The Tower 22 outpost in Jordan was set up for U.S. soldiers to conduct and advise and assist mission with Jordan forces. And Sunday's attack was the first time it has been targeted by enemy fire. In a pre-recorded video on Sunday, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown, told ABC News that they are working to make sure, as things have happened in the Middle East, it is not to have the conflict broaden. He added the goal is to deter them, and we don't want to go down a path of greater escalation that drives to a much broader conflict within the region. We're already there, ladies and gentlemen. We're already there. We just saw recently that Biden has ordered air raid bombings in Yemen against the Houthi rebels that are attacking maritime trade in the Red Sea. Guys, we're already there. We're already in a much broader conflict in the Middle East. We've got rebel groups or terrorist organizations that are backed by Iran, or presumably backed by Iran. That's really all the information that we're getting out of our government right now, is that all of these groups are backed by are backed by Iran. Every single one of them. All the terrorists are backed by Iran. We just really hate Iran. That's really all we're getting out of our government right now. And honestly, based on what our government has done recently, I don't really trust them. But at the same time, we don't really have any other information to go off of. So I don't really know where we go from here. It seems like these groups are backed by Iran. Guys, these groups are all over the Middle East. They're attacking U.S. military bases all over the Middle East. They're attacking U.S. forces and Israeli forces all over the Middle East. The war has already broadened. It is a war now that spans all over the Middle East. Why has this happened? Now, quick question. Before I get into that, quick question. Do you think this would have happened under Donald Trump? Tell me down in the comments. Do you really believe that this right here, this attack against Israel, would have happened against Donald Trump? I can tell you my thoughts. Donald Trump took away funding from Palestine. Yes, that's right. Before Donald Trump got into office, we were offering funding and giving funding to Palestine, which in reality means that we were giving money to the terrorists that are in charge in Palestine, because Palestine is run by a terrorist organization called Hamas. So we were essentially giving money and resources to Hamas. Donald Trump, of course, gets into office and he cuts all of that off. He says, nope, no more. You're not getting another dime. And then, of course, when Biden gets back into office, he just immediately resumes funding terrorist organizations. Yep. It's your tax dollars at work, ladies and gentlemen. Your tax dollars were used to fund a terrorist organization that then used that money to buy resources so that they could kill 3 U.S. soldiers who were just sitting there in Jordan with no real goal or mission. Your president, once again, leaving U.S. soldiers and U.S. citizens out to dry. And then, of course, we have the home front. We have the home front, ladies and gentlemen. From the Post-Millennial, White House reporter demands to know why Biden hasn't federalized National Guard to escalate tensions at the Texas border. Of course they want civil war. We got war in the Middle East. We got war in Ukraine that we have just been sending billions of dollars over to support. We've got China that could go after Taiwan any day. And now the left-wing psycho media is just heck bent. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm not going to cuss on my show. I try to keep things family-friendly. They are so bent on escalating tensions at the border with Texas. How dare you not nationalize or federalize the National Guard at the southern border? How dare you not federalize them? You need to federalize them now so that we can have a civil war tomorrow. Why? Because it gets me clicks. That's the reality. That is the reality of how these people think. And if they're not thinking that way, they're probably controlled or being paid by some government entity like the FBI to push these agendas, which is exactly what happens, by the way. Let's get right into it, guys. The White House correspondent on Friday pressed Karine Jean-Pierre, Biden's press secretary, over why the president hasn't stepped in and federalized the National Guard so he can stand them down and allow Border Patrol in, as Texas has blocked Border Patrol from coming in to cut razor wire in Eagle Pass, Texas. This is a direct quote from this reporter. At a certain point, Texas National Guard soldiers, and National Guard soldiers from other states are being used to frustrate federal authority. They are being used to get in the way of federal immigration enforcement and to flout a court order from the federal court, said the reporter, believed to be the White House correspondent Andrew Feinberg of The Independent. He continued, at what point does the president step in and say, enough of that? These are American soldiers. I am federalizing the National Guard and ordering them to let the Border Patrol do their jobs. Oh, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. There's the lie. There is the big lie in this situation. Let's read it again. Ordering them to let the Border Patrol do their jobs. You see, that would be correct if Border Patrol was actually doing their job. So once again, let's go over what exactly is Border Patrol's job. Border Patrol's job is to deter people from entering the country illegally. Those that do enter the country illegally, they are to be detained, processed, and then deported immediately. That is the job of the Border Patrol. That is it. That is their only responsibility. That is all that they should ever be doing, is exactly what I just said. Because that's their job. Have they been doing their job? Therein lies the question. And I think we can all see from the videos that we've seen at the border, from articles like this, no, they're not doing their job. In fact, the overwhelming majority of Border Patrol agents at the border are facilitating this invasion at our southern border. They are opening border barriers. They are cutting razor wire. They are lifting razor wire, allowing people to just walk right in, and then they're not arrested. They're not detained. They're not deported. They are processed and then just allowed to roam free. In fact, many of these people are put on buses and trafficked or smuggled to major urban centers all across the country. And then once they get to those urban centers, once they get to those cities, your tax dollars are used to take care of them rather than taking care of your community. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, Gen Z. You have to spend $2,000 a month on a one-bedroom apartment. You have to spend $3,000 a month on a little box with just barely enough space for a bed, a little sink, barely enough room to move around. You have to share a bathroom, You're going to pay $2,500 to $3,000 a month for that, whereas the illegal immigrant that just got here 5 minutes ago, they're going to be up in a nice cushy hotel room with their own bed, their own TV, their own bathroom, and their own room service, whereas you suffer. That's right, Gen Z. That's what you get. That's what all your hard work gets you, Gen Z. Are you happy with that? You happy with that? You can't afford a house. You can't afford an apartment. You can't afford to live. You can't afford groceries. You can't afford to put gas in your car. But the illegal immigrant that just got here 5 minutes ago, they get free health care. They get everything that you've ever wanted. And the president is using your tax dollars to give it to them. These governors are using your tax dollars to give it to them. These mayors are using your tax dollars to give it to them. They give everything to them while you starve on the street. When's it going to be enough, Gen Z? When are you going to finally wake up and say, okay, this isn't working? It's not working. Let's continue. Jean-Pierre responded, I'm not going to speculate on any actions the president could use. I'm just not going to do that. She added that she was going to reiterate that if these Republican governors, listen to this woman, listen to what this woman says, because this is insane. If these Republican governors actually cared about doing something to deal with the challenges at the border, they would reach out to their representatives, their congressional representatives, their senators and congress members in their state. Wow. I mean, just full stop right there, guys. Full stop. Let's get real for a second. Listen, think about what this woman just said. She said that if these governors in these states that have been suffering with this border crisis that was created single-handedly by the federal government, the federal government creates this crisis. And then when the states that have been suffering under it finally start to do something to fix it, the federal government comes back and says, no, how dare you try to fix our problem? We're the only ones that can do that. We're supposed to be the white knight saviors that come in at the last second and fix everything so that we can steal all the votes. This is the reality. They think that they are your saviors. They think that they are the ones who hold all the answers. This is the level of thinking in the federal government. They think that they are the all-powerful gods who should be worshipped, and anytime anyone needs a savior, you come to me, little slave. That's what they think of you. You're not allowed to fix anything on your own. You're not allowed to defend yourself. You're not allowed to have anything for yourself. No, we will do everything for you as long as you lick the boot. That's the reality. This is the reality, ladies and gentlemen. This is what they think of you. This is truly what they think of you. And of course, this is coming after, this is from SCNRnews.com. This is, of course, after Greg Abbott says 10 other states have deployed National Guard to Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, things are escalating. Things are absolutely escalating. In a Friday interview with Abbott, Tucker Carlson asked the Texas governor to speculate about how many Republican governors would send National Guard to the Lone Star State. There have been about 10 so far that have sent National Guard or other law enforcement, Abbott replied. This is a fight for the future of America, and they all know it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the precipice of something very dangerous in America. We really are. We are on the precipice. I don't know where we go from here. We are at war on multiple fronts in the Middle East. We've got soldiers that are now dying in the Middle East because of Biden's idiocy. We've got civil war. We're on the cusp of civil war at our southern border. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, it comes down to us. That's really what it is. It comes down to us. What are we going to choose? What are we going to choose? Are we going to continue to lay down, to not speak up, to not speak out against this garbage? Are we going to continue to make poor choices in voting? We got primary elections coming up real quick, guys. I mean, they're right around the corner. And before the dinguses in my comment section say, oh, voting's not going to fix this. How is voting not going to fix this? What other recourse do you have? What other recourse do you have? Be my guest. Be my guest. You can be the first one to go out there with your AR-15 and try to start a civil war. But when you get your head blown off, don't come crying to me. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only recourse that we have. So what I say we should do is we should overpower the system. Yes, they're going to try to cheat. We saw this in 2016. with the Russia collusion hoax that Hillary Clinton's campaign tried to push against Trump. Yes, the Obama administration tried to spy on Donald Trump's campaign. We know that. This is a fact. There's no debate here. These are facts that these things actually happened. Okay? We know that in 2020 there was the shadow campaign to save the election. Yes, we know that there was a Time magazine article about it. Yes, they stole the election from Donald Trump. We know this. We know that they're going to try to do shenanigans. However, get all your friends, get all of your family, look at the polls. Say, look, Biden is failing in the polls. Donald Trump right now is winning the Gen Z vote. Winning 18 to 35-year-old vote. That's huge, guys. The black vote for Joe Biden is falling. He's losing the black vote. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump right now is winning in the polls. But that is not the time to just lay down and say, okay, well, I guess Donald Trump won. No. You get off your butt. You get all your friends. You get all your family, and you say, we're done with this. We're fed up. And this time, we're going to make sure that they are not going to cheat us out of the president that we deserve and the president that we choose to vote for. Overpower the system, man. That's the only way these wars are going to stop. You look at what Donald Trump did in his presidency. No new wars. Pulling soldiers out of the Middle East, or at least attempting to. Trying to pull them out of Syria, and his own military generals lied to him. Ladies and gentlemen, we had the Abraham Accords under Donald Trump. Bro, Donald Trump crossed the demilitarized zone in North Korea, crossed the DMZ into North Korea with no security detail, none whatsoever. They could have kidnapped him and just ran off. You know how big of a deal that is? Do you know the level of cojones you got to have to do something like that? Guys, this is a big deal, man. We are on the cusp of serious war in our country and abroad. We have a choice to make, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to continue to have this black-pilled mentality, this doomer mentality of, oh, well, they're just going to cheat? Cheat them back. No, I'm not saying illegally. I'm saying overpower the system. Get everyone you know out to go vote and fix this, man. And no, I'm not saying that getting one guy in office is going to fix all the problems. But it's just the beginning. I've explained this in the past. Voting is just the beginning of the process to fixing a problem. You go, you vote. That vote leads to getting the right guy in office. Okay? Now you've got the right guy in office. That's just the second step in the process. Then that right guy in office then starts to put forth policies that then can start to fix the problem. And then later on down the road, as those policies start to take effect, you start to see change. Ladies and gentlemen, voting is just the beginning of the process. But you got to trust that process, and you've got to do it. You actually have to get off your butt and go do it before we can get to the fourth step where the problems actually get changed. Stop having the black pill mentality. Stop having the doomer mentality of, oh, well, we just can't win because they're just going to steal the vote. No. Overpower the system and destroy them in the polls. Destroy them on election day so that just leave no doubt that Donald Trump won. Leave no doubt that your representative won. And guys, I'm not saying this is going to fix all of our issues, but it's going to fix a lot of them. If you just get out, go vote, and trust that process, we're going to be able to fix a lot of these issues in our country. Trust the process, man. I know I sound like Joel Embiid. That's a little weird, but guys, Trust the process. Just do it. Get off your butt, get all your family, get all your friends, and go vote. Tell them, okay, we're all going to go get pizza. We're all going to go get some food together. It's going to be great. But first, we're going to go vote. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I really hope that all of this dies down. All of this is great. It's all fine and dandy. But the reality is it's probably not going to be. It's probably going to continue to get crazy before it gets better. But the darkest is the night is always darkest before the dawn. Night is always darkest before the dawn. That's the reality. That's the reality. It truly is. We got to make the best of this, guys. Got to make the best of this. We gotta overpower the system. We gotta vote. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. I'll have another video for you guys probably tomorrow or Wednesday. Not really sure yet. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.